विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Hari Om. Salutations to all. We have been seeing the contemplative verses in Kaivalya Upanishad, mantra number 20 we had seen last time. These are pointers of the self. Each of them one can use to contemplate. Even a whole verse may not be necessary. Just one pointer or 2 pointers one can use in one's contemplation. And what does one do in that contemplation? Reject who I am not and assert who I am. And that has to be done in such a way that there is steady flow of thoughts towards the self. So some pointers will reject who I am not and some pointers will assert. And the idea is to steadily shift the identification from the BMI to the self. And it is not something which is done only as an intellectual exercise. It is done with great amount of vairagya in the heart, in the feeling. And one feels the jiva bhav, one surrenders, one drops. I am not this jiva. One feels that. There is intellectual clarity and then there is a feeling also. And there is a certain sense of withdrawal from the world when one is doing the nididhyasan. So the steady contemplation where the mind is able to focus on this attitude that I am Brahman, I am consciousness, I am the self, I am Sachidananda Swarupa. So many pointers given here. No? Puratanoham, Purushoham, Ishaha, Hiranmayoham. So this will be in the first person, Aham. Why is it in first person? It is in first person because this small I is what we have taken ourselves to be, and we don't know what is the truth, what is the real I. So identified with the body, I say I am man, I am tall, I am dark, I am handsome, I am old, I am young. But that's the quality of the body, that is the attribute of the body, that is not me. I am using a phone, I am not the phone. Same way I am using this body, I am not the body. Now that I is now associated with all the things which are anatma. The word atma means I, aham. So what is that real I? That atma has to be known. And the pointers of the atma are all these. Mahanaham, Purushoham, Hiranmayoham, Shivarupoham. So through this steady contemplation, this identification is shifted. One realizes the true self. One is not putting efforts to withdraw the mind all the time, which goes on wandering. That will be done in the Upasana stage, that will be done in the stage where one is trying to attain single pointedness through mantra japa, through any other sadhanas like breath observation. When one comes to nididhyasan, one is steadily able to contemplate. Now and then, if the mind wanders somewhere, one it brings it back to nididhyasan, but one is not putting that much effort because the idea is now to transcend the identification with the mind. The effort is not to just bring the mind into the present all the time. Then nididhyasan can't happen. Then one has to do the preparatory sadhanas. So nididhyasan is the highest. Gurudev used to say people use meditation for the uh, exercise, what is done. Actually, it is nididhyasan, contemplation, but meditation if we use. So that's why Gurudev used to say meditation is the highest vocation in life. And it requires a lot of preparation. So this steady contemplation that I am this, I am not the BMI, I am infinite consciousness, and that's why this aham, aham, aham is used. Please remember this aham it does not refer to the small I at all. If one says mahan aham, yes, yes, I am great. See, Upanishad is confirming mahan aham. That aham is consciousness. That aham is not this Mr. Ego, small I. And so when one says aham brahmasmi, aham puratanoham, aham ishaha, aham hiranmayaha, that is not ego. That is a assertion of a simple fact. If one says that, this is a book. No, this is a book. That is a statement of a fact. That is a computer. This is a key. Whatever one says, that way it's a statement of fact. Suppose we say this is human. Now, this is human. What is ego in that? There is no ego in that. Same way, when one says aham hiranmayoham, aham shivarupaha. Now, one who does not have the clarity of Vedanta, then one will say, oh, I am only that Shiva. I am the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the universe. As the individual, one will think. But that is not true. As long as I am a Jiva, so long Ishvara exists, and then Ishvara's form as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Shiva, etc., they exist. But when one says, I am not this Jiva at all, then what remains is only consciousness. That is Shiva, that I am. Shiva Rupam Asmi when it says. Now one should not think Shiva Rupam Asmi means, oh, I am of the form of Shiva. One should not take that literal meaning. Oh, that means now I should start dressing like Shiva, I should start looking like Shiva, every day go to the mirror and check, oh, third eye aaya ki nahi aaya. That will be ridiculous. One has to understand I am Shiva means I am consciousness, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, that is my nature, I am not this. So that is steady contemplation which one has to do to drop the false identification. In Vedantsar, Swami Sadanandji says about Nididhyasan. What is Nididhyasan? Advitiya Vastuni Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. Concise, small definition. He has given a little longer one, but essence is this. Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha Advitiya Vastuni. Towards the non-dual Brahman, steady flow of thoughts. Sajatiya Vritti means that. Same kind of thoughts. Meaning, not distracted mind. One thought is of Brahman, then next thought is of some food, then the third thought is of some person, then again come back to Brahman, then fourth thought is of some, achievement. Same. Thought 1 Brahman, thought 2 Brahman, thought 3 Brahman. Continuously one is thinking Shiva Rupam Asmi, Shiva Rupam Asmi, Shiva Rupam Asmi. Again, it is not japa. That's why it is lifting oneself to that higher state, dropping the false identification. If you remember, in the beginning, Brahmaji said to Ashwalayana Rishi, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogad Avaihi. Know this through Shraddha, intellectual quality, Bhakti, emotional quality, and when both these head and heart come together, then intuitively one will know. And so, Dhyan is that state where intuitively one comes to realize my nature as consciousness. I am not this body, mind, intellect. And one is just using the words to lift the mind to that higher state. Shiva Rupam Asmi. So whatever is not Shiva, reject. What is Shiva? Is only Tattva, is consciousness. Body is not Shiva, mind is not Shiva, world is not Shiva. As the five elements or as the uh, Nama Rupa that we see, finitude is not Shiva, perishing nature is not Shiva. Shiva is imperishable. So one rejects any thought comes which is not Shiva, one rejects. One doesn't have to consciously reject separately. One says, I am consciousness. If the thought comes up of anything else which is not Shiva, reject. Stay with that. Shiva Rupam Asmi. And that is Nididhyasan. So now, same process, we continue. The next three mantras are, as we saw earlier, these are for a student, these are contemplative verses. For a realized person, they are expressions of the realization. For them, it is statement of fact. They have experienced it and they are just sharing it. So, 21st mantra. अपाणिपादोऽहमचिन्त्य शक्तिः पश्याम्य चक्षुः सशृणोम्य कर्णः अहं विजानामि विविक्तरूपः न चास्ति वेत्ता मम चित् सदाहम् अपाणिपादोऽहम् I don't have any hands or legs. Achintya Shaktihi, I am unthinkable power. Bashyami Achakshuhu, I see without eyes. Sashrinomi Akarnaha, and I hear without ears. Aham Vijanami Vivikta Rupaha, I am the knower of all the different forms. Nachasti Veta Mama Chit Sadaham, there is nobody who can know me, and my nature is Chit, knowledge, Sada, always. Now, the literal meaning. Now, if somebody reads this, one will think that this reality is specially challenged. If you read Gurudev's commentary, amazing, he has written here that if we accept here the word meaning, the Hindu concept of God needs immediate protection and patronage from some society for the disabled. Here, the hands and legs are representatives of the five instruments of action with which all of us express our responses to the world outside. No doubt in each one, the mode of response is ordered by his own powerful vasanas. So, when we say that the truth has no hands and legs, it only means that the truth is the power that functions in the hands and legs, but itself has no hands and legs. Meaning, in the truth, there are no parts. It is Nishkala. Kala means parts. There is no parts in that. As well as the truth is that which has no action. So hands and legs, they are symbolic of senses of action. Truth is that which enlivens the equipment as well as the doer, the user of the equipment. If you remember earlier, one mantra came. Trishudhamasu yad bhogyam bhokta bhogascha yad bhavet. Tebhyo vilakshana. Truth is apart from this triputi, the experiencer, the experienced, and the experience. Truth is beyond the three. Same way here. It is that which, because of whose presence, actions happen, sense organs are able to function, with hands, legs, tongue, reproductive organ, evacuating organ. These are the five senses of action. They are able to function because of the truth. And that truth expresses through the mind. By enlivening that subtle body further identifies with the gross body, and this gross body is able to function. If this subtle body ejects out of the gross body, now this will become dead. So the gross body is dead. So that truth without which the senses can't function, but which exists without the senses, without the body, that truth exists. So Achintya Shakti it is, and it is Apanipada. No hands, no legs. Apanipadoham. And so the focus is on not the action, not on the result, not on the doer, not on the motive of the action. Focus is what I am, that consciousness which enlivens all the three, which remains unaffected by all. Apanipadoham. We define ourselves not through our actions, through our achievements. We feel worthy if we have achieved something. We feel unworthy when we don't have certain achievements. If there is praise, appreciation, we feel good. At one level, all that is necessary. But when one rises above those levels, one is seeking the truth. One drops all such identification. So, senses of action, nobody identifies with hands as, oh, this is my hand only. Through the hands, one does actions. Yes, one may do whatever, people to take care of it, they will do manicure, pedicure, all that. One level of, if one has to take care of it, keep it clean, etc., that's a different point. But otherwise, hands, symbolic of karma, of action. Same way, feet, movement. So, hands and legs, symbolic of senses of action. So, we define ourselves through our actions, achievements, success, glory, fame, appreciation, validation, praise, all that. And says, I am none of these. Who am I? The consciousness that enlivens all this. Apanipadoham. So one can always say that electricity, if you have to, in this context, if you have to speak like this, how the mantra is indicating consciousness, Apanipadoham Achintya Shaktihi, then one can always say, what is electricity? Electricity is that which is abalbafenam, a heater, a music system, whatever. In the electricity, there is no bulb, there is no fan, there is no music system, there is no heater, none of this. But without this electricity, none of these will function. So it is like that. What is that which makes this function? Upanishad, so beautifully the seeker asks that question. That truth because of which all these function, which remains untouched by any of these. If body is there, well and good. If body is not there, doesn't matter. Truth remains independent of that. Apanipadoham achintya shakti. See, apanipadoham is a nice folklore that when Tulsidas ji, when he went to Jagannath ji, now he saw, when he had darshan of Jagannath ji, he was very disturbed. He said, what kind of a murti is this of Bhagwan? He does not have hands, he does not have legs. What is this? So he had darshan, he prayed and he came and he was not very satisfied and he was disturbed. He said, this is not right, Bhagavan doesn't have hands, Bhagavan doesn't have legs, and he has such big eyes. That night, when he slept, Bhagavan came in his dream and Bhagavan said, I am in this form for you. Why? Because he himself has written in Tulsi Ramayana also, Binu pag chale sunay binu kana, which is this apane padoham achintya shakti pashyami shak chakshu sashunomi akarnaha, which is Upanishad only, which is indicating consciousness, most blissful state. And Bhagwan says, I am in this form because you wrote there and I wanted to give you darshan in this form, so I am here like this. See the glory of Bhagwan, the compassion of Bhagwan also. And Tulsidas ji heard that and Bhagwan revealed that truth to him. He was in bliss after that, saying, Oh, Jagannath ji is in this. That is the glory of Bhagwan. That for the bhakta he can take even this form literally. Binu pag chale sunay binu kana. There is a legend behind it, etc. That's one aspect. That why it is like that, why Bhagwan's form is like that. There is one story of Indradyumna Raja and all that, but the bhav is what finally, that what the Upanishad is saying, for the devotee, Bhagwan manifests that literally also. Otherwise, this is not meant for literal depiction. It is for dropping the identification and realizing the absolute in the state of contemplation. But that infinite consciousness, which has no name, no form, no attributes, using the power of Maya becomes Ishvara, and that Ishvara takes a form for Bhakta to make that Bhakta realize that through the path of bhakti also and through the path of jnana also the same truth one will come to realize. And for the sake of the bhakta, Bhagwan is happy to even come in this weird form, so-called weird form. So, apanipadoham achintya shaktihi. Achintya shakti means what? That consciousness is the power behind the mind. This is literally Kenopanishad in one verse, where it is said, that यत् चक्षुषा न पश्यति येन चक्षुंषि पश्यति तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि न idam yadidam upasate. That which can't be seen by the eyes but because of which the eyes see, know that to be Brahman, not this which you worship. Meaning, you go beyond the stage of upasana, come to realize that consciousness. Same way, yan manasana manute yena ahur manomatam. That which can't be thought of by the intellect or the mind, but because of which the mind and intellect think, know that to be Brahman. Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi. So, Achintya Shakti means that. It is that consciousness which will not objectify, which cannot be objectified by the mind. Mind can't grasp it, a thought can't grasp it. Just like through action, one can never realize consciousness. One may do any amount of karma, it will produce limited karma phala only. So the actions are not that which will make us realize the truth. Apanipadoham also means that. One has to gain the knowledge. Through actions, I can put effort to drop whatever I am not. Who I am will reveal itself. Apanipadoham. Achintya Shakti, through the mind I can't grasp. Consciousness is not a concept. It is not a idea. It is not a particular thought, an object of thought. So Achintya Shakti. It is that because of which the mind thinks. So thought comes, thought goes. Presence of consciousness never is negated. A thought gets negated. One thought will negate another thought. So if I have a thought of apple, that will be there now. Next thought of food, let us say work, will replace that thought of apple. But consciousness is enlivening both these thoughts. That will never get negated. Even if there are no thoughts like in deep sleep, consciousness ever is. So the mind derives its capability from consciousness, ability to function from consciousness. Consciousness is not affected by it all. So how much we define ourselves with our actions, apanipadoham, that negates it. Then how much we define ourselves through our thoughts. A thought of anger comes, we say I am angry. A thought of jealousy comes, we say I am jealous. A thought of excitement comes, I am excited. It is just a thought that comes, it goes. But we cling to that and we define ourselves through the thoughts that arise in our mind. Vedanta says you are consciousness, not any amount of good thoughts also cannot define you. You are achintya shakti. Even all these words, consciousness, achintya shakti, are only words. They will indicate a state which is indescribable by thoughts. Unimaginable power it is. Achintya shakti. So, apanipadoham achintya shakti pashyami achakshuhu. I see without eyes. Without eyes, how is it possible to see without eyes, Swamiji? Again, it means that because of which the eyes see which eyes can't see. That is one meaning. But do you know we see without eyes? Only in the physical state we require the physical eyes to see this physical world. In the dream, we are seeing or not. Without physical eyes functioning, eyes are closed, but dream is being seen. This physical ear is not functioning in that context. But I am hearing all sounds in the dream. Pashyami chakshu sashrunomi akarnaha. Without ears I hear, without eyes I see. How? Because the mind and the sense capabilities are enlivened by consciousness. These physical eyes are only the gross organs. They are golaka. The capability to see in the eye is the indriya, it is the sense. So the ability to see, hear, taste, smell, touch, five senses of knowledge. And grasping, movement, speaking, evacuation, reproduction, five senses of action. These 10 sense capabilities are in the Sukshma Sharir. And that Sukshma Sharir is enlivened by consciousness. Without that, these capabilities will not function. So even though we may have spectacles, we may have physical eyes, but in the dream, spectacles are put aside, eyes are closed, and yet I am able to see the whole dream. How? Because of the light of consciousness. Now, when we say light of consciousness, don't think consciousness is some bulb, some light. Meaning because of awareness. One is aware, I am, and that awareness enlivens these capabilities. Then they function. So even in dream, we see without ears and without eyes. One. In deep sleep, see, we have to understand seeing and hearing is sense of knowledge, waking and dream state, two different states. One, we are using physical gross organs to see and hear. In the other, we are using the sense capabilities to see and hear. But in the state of deep sleep, physical as well as subtle, both I am not aware of. Yet I know that I am. So, pashyami achakshuhu, sashrunomi akarnaha means that consciousness which enlivens this waking dream, deep sleep, that is me. Senses are present or not present. Sense organs are present or not present. The capability to function is there because of the presence of consciousness. So I am that consciousness. So I am not defined by the perceptions that I have through the senses of knowledge. Otherwise, what we see here, taste, smell, touch, that becomes our experience. And we define our life through that. When we say, today was a great day, I enjoyed so much, or I learned so much, or I experienced so much. Why? Through the senses, I had a good experience. I ate something, I saw something, I heard some music, I drew something, I wrote something, whatever I did today. So great experience. Mind can have that experience. Buddhi may have some kind of satisfaction, no doubt. But I am not any of these. Pashyami achakshu sashunomi akarnaha. Senses don't define me, and sense experiences don't define me. Mind and its thoughts and its emotions and its intellectual, uh, logic and rational thinking, etc. None of them define me. I am infinite consciousness. Pashyami chakshuhu sashunomi akarnaha. Then are you able to know without senses, without mind, without intellect? Yes, aham vijanami. Aham vijanami. I am aware. I know. My nature is knowledge. Chit sadaham, he says. No, my nature is knowledge. Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha. Beyond all forms I am, yet I know all forms. Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha. By itself I don't have a form, but all the forms are known by me. That is even at the sensory level that is applicable. It's so amazing. The eye by itself doesn't hold on to any one form, but the eye knows all forms or not. The tongue by itself has so many different taste buds. It is not limited by one taste. It will know all the tastes. It is only one, but it knows all. So at sensory level also that is applicable. Then here we're talking about consciousness. That aham vijanami vivikta rupaha. Devoid of all forms I am, yet I know all forms. Vivikta can mean devoid. Vivikta can also mean many, variety. Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha. Devoid of all forms I am, yet I know all the forms. Because the consciousness enlivens the mind and intellect. Nachasti veta mama. There is nobody who knows me. Oh Swamiji, nobody knows consciousness. What is this? So we will never know consciousness? No. Then what did we do? So many classes we have been studying. We will not know consciousness. We will not know. Why? Because consciousness is not an object to be known. It is a subject, and it is beyond subject and object also. So aham vijanami vivikta rupa nachasti veta mama. There is no other knower of me. I know myself. Aham vijanami means also that. Yeah, I know myself. Why? Chit sadaham. My nature is chit, always. I am of the nature of knowledge. I am not an object of knowledge. I am not the knower. I am not the knowledge that is arising because of the knower contacting the object. I am pure knowledge itself. Aham vijanami nachasti veta mama. There is nobody else who will know me. Gurudev used to say that this Brahman is the one who is the greatest converter. Whoever realizes Brahman becomes Brahman. Meaning, It's not that the person was not Brahman before and then became Brahman. That's a figurative way of saying that knower of Brahman became Brahman. Became Brahman means what? He was always Brahman only. Infinite consciousness alone. So, some context Gurudev would say that Brahman is the greatest converter. Anybody who realizes Brahman becomes Brahman. And so there is no other knower of Brahman except Brahman. That knower disappears. The salt doll goes to measure the ocean. There is no salt doll. There is only ocean there. Full stop. So who came to know the ocean? That entity only is not there. The dream character will never know the waker. Because when the dream character drops its identification when one wakes up, then one realizes, oh, I am the waker. The dream character is gone. It is not there. So who came to know the waker? If you say dream character came to know the waker, impossible. Dream character will never know the waker. Who came to know the waker? The waker came to know the waker. What a stupid thing it sounds. Waker came to know the waker. How can waker come to know the waker? Waker is always the waker. And that's the problem there. It appeared as though in between the waker forgot himself. So now he came to know the waker. So who comes to know the truth? Gurudev always used to roar, In the Gita talks also this comes in the Gita chapters when it comes. Gurudev will roar in the evening talks and all that. Sometimes he will say, nobody can know Narayana. And 4 or 5 times loudly he will roar, nobody can know Narayana. People will be shocked, saying, what? Nobody can know Narayana. Then what are we doing all these years? We want to know who is Narayana. We want to be one with Narayana. Narayana is everywhere in this universe, but we can't see him, so we want to know him. Now he's saying, nobody can know Narayana. Then you say, Narayana alone knows Narayana. And you are that Narayana. So, when he says here that Nachasti Veta Mama, there is no separate knower. The knower dissolves, the knower becomes one. I am that infinite consciousness. Nobody can know this consciousness. Till today, nobody has known consciousness. Oh Swamiji, what about all these great sages, Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, and Vyasa, and Valmiki, and so many of them? They came to realize oneness with consciousness. It is not that Valmiki knows consciousness. Valmiki realized that I am consciousness, I am not this Valmiki. That's the realization. Then they express that for everyone else. So, Nachasti Veta, there is nobody who can know this truth. Because the knower of the truth will realize oneness with the truth. And that oneness is such that one will realize I was never this entity, this world never came into being, there's only one Brahman. Was, is always the same one truth. There was the waker, there is the waker, there will always be the waker. The dream in between was illusory, inexplicable, how it came. And all that you and I are saying, inexplicable because we see. For that Mahatma, there is nothing. Brahman alone is. World never came into being. Bandhan is also illusory. Mukti also is illusory for that Mahatma. So, Nachasti Veta Mama, then who am I? Chit Sadaham. I am of the nature of bliss and consciousness always. Chit means consciousness, and that consciousness only is Ananda Swarupa, is bliss. Chit Sadaham, meaning consciousness that enlivens everything at all times. Meaning the sense of aham, I am, unbroken it is. That awareness that I am, I exist, and that nature is bliss, that is there all the time. Thoughts come, thoughts go, actions happen, success, failure, anything can happen in the world. That presence in us always is unchanging, same, unaffected by it. I am. Chit Sadaham. If you see the last paragraph of the commentary of this mantra, Gurudev has written very nicely. If Kaivalya Upanishad is a rare piece of jewelry in the vaults of the Hindu culture, we can without any hesitation declare that this stanza is the precious pendant of beauty that enriches this piece of jewelry. This mantra, so beautiful. Gurudev says this is the pendant of beauty, precious pendant of beauty that enriches this piece of jewelry. Why? Because in this one mantra, everything is negated also. Senses of knowledge negated, senses of action negated, mind negated, intellect negated, forms negated, all concepts also negated. The triputi, knower, known, and knowing also negated. Then what is remaining? Aham vijanami, chit sadaham. Beautiful mantra. Then वेदैरनेकैहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृत् वेदविदेव चाहम् न पुण्यपापे मम नास्ति नाशः न जन्म देहेन्द्रिय बुद्धिरस्ति वेदैः अनेकैः अहमेव वेद्यः Swamiji, this is very familiar. Somewhere we have heard this. 15th chapter we chant. In that it comes. Veda Vyasya lifted straight from Upanishad. He only compiled the Vedas, he only wrote the Bhagavad Gita. So he took inspiration. What is wrong in that? In that it comes, na Veda iranekayahameva vedyaha Vedanta krit Veda videva chaham. That is here. Veda iranekayahameva vedya. This Kaivalya Upanishad. What is the 15th chapter of the Gita? After this aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritaha pranapana samayukta pachamyenam chaturvidham सर्वस्य चाहम हृदय सन्निविष्टः मत्त स्मृति ज्ञानम अपोहनम च वेदैश्च सर्वै अहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृत वेदविदेव चाहम. That those are the last two lines of that shloka number 15. Here these are the first two lines. Vedair anekaihi. Little difference. Vedair anekaihi ahameva vedyah. Next line is same. Vedantakrit vedavideva chaham. That is same. So what is the meaning here? Vedaihi anekaihi ahameva vedyah. Through many, many Vedas, what is to be known is only I. Then Vedantakrit, I am the creator of Vedant. Then Vedavid, the knower of Veda also I am. Aham cha. I am that knower of the Veda also. I am the creator of the Veda also. I am the one to be known through the Veda also. Na punya pape mama nasti nashaha. There is no destruction for me. Punya and papa get destroyed. We can even say, in me there is no punya and papa. Take it separately. Then mama na punya pape. That is one. Then mama na asti nasha. There is no destruction for me. You can take it separately also, you take it together also. Na janma deha indriya buddhi rasti. I have no janma. I have no body, no senses, no buddhi. If people don't have proper, clarity about Vedanta and the foundation is not strong, they will think this reality is very scary. He is saying there is no body, there is no buddhi, there is no mind. It is a senseless reality, I think. Absolutely dull and dumb. There is no buddhi. Buddhu hai, I think. I really wonder how some of the people, they sat out, they were not even in India, they sat somewhere else in Germany and all that, and they translated our Vedas without learning properly from a parampara prapta guru and understanding the Upanishads. Sitting somewhere, they wrote translations. And that's why they got confused, saying, what kind of a description is this? Sounds very weird. So, Vedahi anekaihi ahameva vedya. Anekaihi Vedahi means what? Oh, there are many, many Vedas, Swamiji. We thought there are only four. They are not even four, they are only one. Huh? Only one? Yes, only one. Veda means Vid means to know. So Veda is knowledge by itself. And knowledge of that infinite truth. Knowledge of the oneness of Jiva Jagat Ishvara. Veda does not mean a book. How many Vedas are there? Four Vedas are there. What are the four Vedas? Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvaveda. So the moment we say Veda, what comes to our mind is book. Veda is not equal to book. Book is only a means to gain that knowledge. If you say physics, what is physics? Then what comes to our mind? Oh, physics means book. No, we think physics means science. Physics means the laws of the universe. So we think like that. Now we don't think physics equal to book. Same way, Veda is not a book. Veda is the holistic knowledge of essential oneness. And of course, there are many other things in the Veda. Veda is the very source of all dharma. Vedo Akhila Dharma Moolam. Veda is that which is required by us because we have a buddhi, so that we can make the right choice. What is right, what is wrong, because we have a karta bhav that right and wrong will be important. The motive of the action and how to act so that our actions are meritorious, they will lead us to happiness. What will lead us to more sorrow? What will lead to higher states like heaven, etc.? What will help me to go beyond all this and realize the truth? All that is knowledge in the Veda. So this punya, papa, all that, is through the Veda only one will know. Alaukika Vishaye Vedaha Pramanam. The things which are not tangible, perceptible. What is the valid means of knowing that? Veda. And following the Veda, there are Mahatmas who have realized that state. They are the proof that what Veda is saying is true. It's not some mumbo jumbo written by some primitive people 5,000, 10,000 years ago. What would have been their level of evolution? And why have they written all this? Why do we have to study today? Today we are in the modern age. One thinks all that. Sanatan Dharma has been very adaptable, and Veda reveals eternal principles. Certain things, yes, rituals, etc., which today we may not be doing, but the point is the Veda reveals the principles, and those principles are universally applicable at any point in time. Dharma is applicable at any point in time, values are applicable at any point in time. Our nature as consciousness will never be negated, it is the same throughout. What are the things to be done to attain punyas, to go to heaven? These are all can't be tangible, perceptible through the senses. And so for those who want to know dharma and those who want to know Brahman, Veda is the praman. Dharma jignasamananam pramanam paramam shrutihi. Manusmriti says that. Those who want to know dharma and Brahma jignasamananam, those who want to know Brahman, for them Veda is the supreme authority. And so Veda is one, is a holistic knowledge, is Veda. Classified and presented in the form of four books. Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. Each book has three divisions, broadly we say. Mantra Brahmana portion, which is about rituals to attain fulfillment of desires. Upasana or Aranyaka portion, which is about subtle forms of meditation to realize oneness with the truth and to make the mind single pointed. And then the third is Jnana Kand or Upasana or Vedant, which is essential oneness of Jiva Jagat Ishvara. The entire Veda and the Vedic way of life is oriented towards the realization of this truth, that I am one with Brahman, world is one with Brahman. In fact, there is Brahman alone, there is nothing else. That's why he says, Aham eva Vedyaha. I alone am to be known through the study of the Veda. If I study the Veda but I don't know what is Brahman, I don't know, consciousness, what have I studied the Veda for? One may study the Veda and one may attain some siddhis, one may attain some powers, one may attain some punya, one may go to heaven, one may become successful in the world, attain some power, position, prosperity, progeny, all that. Veda is enough to even explain all this. One may live a so-called happy life, comfortable life. But if I have not known the truth, who am I? Consciousness, how the world is expression of that infinite truth, then what have I studied? That's why Bhagavan says here, Vedaihi anekaihi aham eva vedyaha. Acha, Rig Veda if I study, what will I get? Yajur Veda if I study, what will I get? Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, each Veda has difference or not? Yes, each Veda has different things. That's why they are distinct also. But the essence in all is one. And that's why some great Mahatmas have ensured that Mahavakyas are taken up from one Veda as the essence of that Veda. There are many, many Mahavakyas in each Veda, in every Upanishad also. But the point is, at least one has been picked up to make us understand that the essence of studying the Veda is to know who am I as consciousness. I have to know. Prajnanam Brahma is from Rig Veda. Yajurveda is Aham Brahmasmi. Then Sama Veda is Tattvamasi. Atharva Veda is Ayam Atma Brahma. Each Veda has one Mahavakya picked out clearly to make us realize that no matter which Veda you study, the essence is you have to know Brahman. So Vedair anekaihi aham eva vedyaha. I alone am to be known. Vedanta Krit. I am the creator of the Vedanta also. Creator of Vedanta means, of course, creator of the Veda also. One should not say, oh, only Vedanta Bhagavan created. What about the other part? Right. People think human beings have written the Veda. Even Veda Vyasji has not written the Veda. He is only compiler. Vyasa literally means compiler. So Veda Vyasa means one who has compiled the Vedas. Vedas are revelations of Bhagavan to great rishis. And that body of knowledge has been compiled properly. It was earlier in the oral tradition, then it has come into the compilation through the form of 4 books. But who is the author of this? Neither Veda Vyasji nor any specific individual. Vishwamitra Rishi is not the author of Gayatri Mantra. It is revealed to him. Same way, this, let us say, Kathopanishad, so Kathaka Rishi. He is not the author of that. The whole thing is revealed. It's revealed knowledge. And who is the creator of Veda? Bhagavan alone. Vedanta Krit means Veda Krit also. Then who is the knower? Vedavid eva chaham. The knower of the Veda also is Bhagavan only. How? The entity in us, Mr. So and so, is the consciousness only identified with the finite. And like what we saw earlier, there is no one else who will know except Bhagavan. Narayana alone knows Narayana. So who is the ultimate knower? Bhagavan only. Vedantakrit Vedavid Eva Cha Aham. I am that. That consciousness only appears as the world, appears as the Jiva, appears as the Ishvara, appears as the Veda. And using the Veda, consciousness realizes itself. And when it realizes itself, what is the realization? None of this came into being. Sounds weird to us, but that's how it is. The waker's mind only it is, which becomes the dream creator, projects the whole dream world, becomes all the dream creatures, does the whole lila, then says enough now, bas. Then the dream character learns to withdraw and using the dream Veda wakes up. Then one realizes, oh, none of this was there. One play is going on. So one woke up. Then one realized that play also is not there. The dream world is also gone. It was just actually nothing happened. So Vedantakrit Veda Videva Chaham. Then na punya pape mama nasti. there is no punya and papa to me. Punya and papa are results of karma. They are karma phala. Depending on the motive of the action, one will attain the punya, if it is good, if it is bad, papa. And that punya and papa is the currency of the universe. Please remember, till we don't realize Brahman, what is the real currency is punya and papa. Is dollar and euro dollar and American dollar and Indian rupee and yen and this and that is only transactional value in the relative world. The real wealth is punya. How much punya I get, that will determine not only this life but also the next life. Na punya, papa. As long as one has the jiva bhav, one should keep on doing meritorious actions, do dharmic actions, should not do adharmic things, should not hurt, harm, injure, cheat, loot, none of that. Tell lies. Unnecessary one is accumulating baggage, negative karma. If one has good health, if one has a human body, one has good relationships, one has wealth, one has ability to enjoy, one has success, achievement, all that is only a result of punya. Good deeds done in the past. And what deeds we are doing now, that will create my future. So if one does not have that clarity, then one will live anyhow. Veda is to help me to regulate my thought process, to understand, oh, these are the laws of the universe, so let me function accordingly. That punya and papa are the results, and with punya good things will come in life, with papa sorrow and suffering will come. So in any way there is sorrow and suffering, that means there is some papa karma getting exhausted. Doesn't mean I am a bad person, but some negative karma is getting exhausted. That one must to understand. If I've eaten some food which is infected, stomach infection will happen, no? Then you take some medicine, get out of that. But the result will be that some disease has come because some infection, I ate something, I contracted something where in the air some virus was there, got it. Now some suffering will happen. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person in that sense. So if somebody is suffering, doesn't mean that that person is a papi. No, that's some result of negative karma. He's getting exhausted. That's all. And if the person becomes aware, no, I don't want, this is some result of some papa karma, let me do righteous actions. So Veda helps us to come away from the path of adharma to dharma and then go beyond dharma. So when we are on the path of going beyond dharma, then na punya pape mama. There is no punya and papa to me because I am not the karta. As long as karta bhav is in me strongly, I have to act with the clarity that I should do dharma and I should do punya. Good action which will lead to punya. I should not do adharma. Following dharma is for our sake, not for anybody else. We don't have to follow dharma to prove anything to anybody. And we don't have to not follow dharma because others are not following. Think about that. What is our excuse? We say, Swamiji, everybody is not following dharma. Why should I follow dharma? Okay, because you are going to enjoy or suffer the consequence of your actions. Nobody else is going to. And that's why if collectively people are doing adharma, collectively they face also suffering. When you see collective death happening in an accident, in a tsunami, etc., what is that? That is collective karma. If together they have done something wrong, then together they will go through that karmic consequence also. But even if you go through it together, what is it? I am going through it as an individual myself also. No? There may be 10 people, 10 of us are getting some karma phala. But I have to experience that by myself anyway. What consolation it is, others also are suffering, so it's okay. That is stupidity. I have to anyway go through that consequence of sorrow and pain and suffering. Why should I do? And if I follow dharma, mind will be quiet, result will be good. It may be appearing difficult in the world. If selfishness is very high, then to live selflessly appears difficult. But if I am clear, I will follow. So, na punya pape mama. One should not say, oh, from today no punya papa. So, it doesn't matter. Eat anything, do anything, live anyway. No, no, no. This is the last step. From adharma, one comes to dharma, follows dharma properly, does actions which will give good results, and then finally one can go beyond actions when we go beyond karta bhav. Then na punya pape mama. Then na asti jan nashaha. There is no destruction for me and there is no birth for me, meaning no birth, no death. Somebody asked Mahatma Ji, does Vedanta believe in rebirth? That Mahatma answered powerfully. He said, Vedanta doesn't believe in this birth only. What a nice statement answer he gave. Vedanta doesn't believe in this birth only. What are you talking about? Punarjanma. Na Janma, he says. Upanishad is saying. This birth itself is illusory. This whole world itself is illusory. There is no birth for me. Birth is for the body, birth is for a thought, birth is for a emotion, and it will die. I am that awareness which always watches birth of the body, birth of the thought, birth of the feeling, and the death of all this also. Not unaffected by it. Ocean is not affected. Waves can rise, stay, fall, rise, stay, fall. How does ocean get affected? So, na janma, na nashaha, na deha, indriya, buddhi, rasti. There is no deha, indriya, buddhi in me. Meaning, they don't define me. I can be without any of them, but they can't be without me. So, beautiful mantras, two mantras. Two more mantras are there and then Falash Shruti. So, we will conclude in our next class, in our next satsang, this Kaivalya Upanishad, we will be able to conclude. So, 14th will be our last class. All right, any questions for today? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om